DMX met Biggie backstage in 1997. What Biggie told him about Tupac changed everything. 3 months later, Biggie was gone. Brooklyn, New York. February 1997. 11:37 p.m. DMX was backstage at a radio station. Hot 97. Waiting to go on. Still underground. Still grinding. Still unknown to most of the world. His first album wouldn't drop for another year, but anyone who knew really knew understood he was next. He was sitting alone in the green room, nervous energy. The kind that makes you pace. The kind that makes you doubt. The kind that makes you wonder if you'll ever break through. Then Biggie walked in. Christopher Wallace. The notorious B.A. The king of New York. Ready to Die had changed everything. Life after death was about to drop. He was at his peak. Undeniable. Respected. Feared. Loved. And he was walking into a green room where DMX, Earl Simmons, nobody from Yonkers was sitting alone. UX.
Biggie asked. DMX looked up, nodded. Yeah. I heard your shit. That Get At Me Dog joint, that's fire. DMX blinked. Biggie had heard his music. Biggie the Biggie knew who he was. Appreciate that, DMX managed. Biggie sat down, not across the room, right next to him, like they were boys, like status didn't matter. You nervous? Biggie asked. Little bit. Don't be. You got it. I can hear it. You got that thing people can't teach. That realness. That's why you're gonna win. DMX nodded, still processing that Biggie was sitting next to him, talking to him like they were equals. Then Biggie said something that DMX would remember for the rest of his life. Let me tell you something about this game. About beef. About rap wars. About all the bullshit that killed Pac. DMX sat up straighter. Everyone knew about Tupac. Everyone knew about the East Coast-West Coast War. Everyone knew Pac had been killed 6 months ago. September 1996. Las Vegas. Still unsolved. Still bleeding. You listening? Biggie asked. Yeah. This game will try to make you hate people you don't even know. We'll try to make you beef with people you never met. We'll try to make you choose sides in wars that ain't yours. Don't do it. DMX nodded slowly. Biggie continued. Me and Pac, we were friends once. Real friends. Before the industry got in the way. Before the media made it into something it wasn't. Before people who didn't give a fuck about either of us turned us into enemies. What happened? Biggie leaned back, looked at the ceiling, like he was trying to decide how much to share, how honest to be. We met in '93. Oakland. I was out there doing shows. Pac showed me around, introduced me to people, let me crash at his place. We talked about the game, about making it, about staying real. He was good people, man. Really good people. DMX nodded, listening. We had chemistry. Both of us street niggas who made it out. Both of us could rap. Both of us had something to say. We talked about doing music together. Talked about bridging coasts. Showing that East and West could work together. Could make something beautiful. What changed? November 1994. Pac got shot at Quad Studios, in New York, my city, while he was there to record with me, 5 times. Thought he was gonna die, and when he survived he thought I had something to do with it. Did you? Biggie looked at DMX hard. No, I was in the studio when it happened. I had nothing to do with it. But Pac didn't believe me, or couldn't believe me, or was too hurt and scared to trust anybody. So he blamed me, blamed Puff, blamed New York, and everything fell apart. You tried to fix it. At first, I called, tried to talk, tried to explain, but he was in jail by then, Rikers, for that sexual assault case, and he wasn't hearing it. Then he got out. Signed to death row, and Sue G got in his ear, turned him against everybody from the East, made it bigger than me and Pac, made it coasts, made it war. Biggie paused. DMX could see the pain in his face, real pain, not performance, not tough guy posturing, actual grief. Hit 'em Up came out. He went at everyone. Me, Puff, Junior M.A. Tha, Mobb Deep. Everybody, called me out by name, threatened my family, my wife, said the most disrespectful shit you could say, and I had to respond, had to defend myself, so I did. Who shot ya wasn't about him. I recorded that before he got shot. But everyone thought it was, and it got worse, and worse, and worse. You ever talked to him after that? No, never got the chance. We'd see each other at events, award shows, industry shit. We'd stare across rooms, both of us knowing we were supposed to hate each other. Both of us remembering when we were friends. Both of us trapped in something bigger than us. What would you have said? If you could have talked to him, Biggie thought about it. I would have said I'm sorry, not for shooting him. I didn't, but for not trying harder to fix it, for letting the industry bullshit matter more than the friendship, for responding when I should have just stayed quiet, for feeding into it when I knew better. I would have said remember when we were just two rappers trying to make it. Remember when it was about the music. Remember when we were brothers. That's what I would have said. Think he would have listened. I don't know, maybe not. Pride is a motherfucker. Fear is worse. We were both prideful, both scared, both trapped in situations we didn't know how to escape. So maybe he would have listened. Or maybe it was too late, but I'll never know, because I never tried, and now he's dead. The weight of that hung in the air. DMX felt it, felt the regret, felt the loss, felt the lesson being taught in real time. That's why I'm telling you this. Biggie continued, because I don't want you to make my mistake. When you blow up, and you will, people are gonna push you to beef, gonna try to make you the next Pac, the next casualty of this shit. Don't do it. Don't let pride matter more than people. Don't let fear keep you from showing love. Don't let the industry turn you into something you're not. How do I avoid it? By remembering everyone in this game is human. Everyone's got a mother, a family, dreams, fears. Everyone's just trying to survive. When someone disses you, remember that. When someone seems like your enemy, remember they're probably just scared. When the industry tries to pitch you against someone, ask yourself who benefits from that beef. 'Cause it ain't you. It ain't them. It's the people selling records and papers off your pain. DMX absorbed this, filed it away. This wasn't just advice. This was survival information. This was a map through a minefield. What about Suji? DMX asked. What about Death Row? They started this shit. Suji moves how he moves. I can't change that. But I can control me. I can control how I respond. I can refuse to play the game they want me to play. That's power. Not responding, not feeding it, just making music and staying alive. You think Suji had Pac killed? Biggie looked around, lowered his voice. I don't know. I don't know who killed Pac. Could have been Suji. Could have been gang shit. Could have been someone else entirely. But I know this. The environment killed him. The culture of beef. The expectation of retaliation. The cycle of violence. That's what killed him. And the same thing is trying to kill me. You think you're next? Biggie was quiet for a long moment. Then yeah, I think I'm next. I feel it. Every day. The target on my back. The way people look at me in LA. The threats. The tension. I think they're coming from. And I don't know how to stop it except to stop feeding into it. Stop beefing. Stop giving them reasons. So why you going to LA next month? For the Soul Train Awards. Because I can't hide. Can't let fear win. Can't stop living because I might die. But I'm being careful. I'm bringing security. I'm staying aware. I'm trying to be smart. But yeah, I'm going. Because that's what Pac would have done. And I respect that. Even now. DMX looked at Biggie different now. Not as the king of New York. Not as the legend. But as a man. Scared. Tired. Trying to navigate an impossible situation. Trying to survive a war he didn't start and didn't know how to end. I'll remember this, DMX said. All of it. I promise. Good. And one more thing about Pac. Yeah. He was right about a lot of shit. About the industry using us. About suits making money off our pain. About the system being designed to destroy us. He saw that clearer than most. And he spoke on it. And that's part of why he died. Because the truth is dangerous. So when you speak truth, and you will, I can hear it in your music. Be careful. Be smart. Be strategic. Don't let your truth get you killed like it did Pac. The production assistant knocked again. Big. Seriously. You're up. Biggie stood, extended his hand again. DMX shook it, harder this time, like he was trying to transfer the promise through time. DMX felt something in his chest, something heavy, something real. Why you telling me this? He asked. Because you're about to blow up. I can feel it. And when you do, this industry is gonna try to use you, gonna try to make you beef with people, gonna try to pitch you against whoever's. Don't fall for it. The only person you're in competition with is yourself. Everyone else is just trying to survive like you. What about loyalty? What about your coast, your crew? Loyalty is to people, not geography. Crews, not coasts. You can love Brooklyn and respect L. You can be Rough Riders and still show love to Death Row. Or Bad Boy. Or Wu-Tang. Or whoever. The coasts didn't kill Pac. Fear did. Pride did. Misunderstanding did. Don't let them kill you too. They sat in silence for a moment. The noise from the hallway, voices, laughter, music, felt distant. You scared? DMX asked. Bold question. But Biggie's honesty had earned it. Biggie looked at him, really looked at him. Yeah. I'm scared. Pac got killed. And everyone's looking at me like I had something to do with it. I didn't. But perception is reality in this game, and the perception is I'm next. So yeah, I'm scared. But you still doing it, still making music, still showing up. What else am I gonna do? Hide? Let fear win? Nah, I got people depending on me, a daughter, a family, a city. I can't stop, but I can be smarter. I can be more careful. I can stop feeding into the bullshit. How? By not beefing, by not responding to every diss, by not letting the game make me into something I'm not, by remembering that the music is the point, not the drama, not the beef, the music. A production assistant knocked on the door. Big, you're up in 5. Biggie stood up, extended his hand. DMX shook it. You're gonna be great, Biggie said, but don't let them make you into a monster. Be real, be raw, be yourself, but don't let them use you to hurt people. That's how they got me in Pac. Don't let them do it to you. DMX nodded. I won't. Biggie smiled. Sad smile. Knowing smile. Good. And when you blow up, and you will remember this conversation. Remember that everyone in this game is human. Everyone's scared. Everyone's just trying to make it out alive. Help who you can. Show love when you can. Because tomorrow ain't promised. He walked toward the door, stopped, turned back. One more thing, about Pac. Yeah, he was good people, talented as hell, passionate, real. Everything they say about him is true, and I wish I'd told him that before he died. I wish I'd said fuck the beef, and just showed up and said you're my brother and I love you, but I didn't, and I'll regret that forever. So don't make my mistake, don't wait, don't let pride or fear, or industry bullshit, keep you from showing love to people who deserve it. I won't. Promise me. I promise. Biggie nodded. I ate. Now go kill this interview. He left. DMX sat alone, processing, feeling like he'd just been given a blueprint, not for success, for survival, for staying human in a game that rewards being a monster. 3 months later, March 9, 1997. Christopher Wallace was shot and killed in Los Angeles, still unsolved, still bleeding, still another casualty of a war that benefited no one except people selling papers and records. And DMX kept his promise. You would refuse to participate in manufactured beef, would show love to everyone. East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, South, would work with artists from every region, every crew, every background. The first test came in 1999. DMX had just blown up. It's Dark and Hell is Hot had gone multi-platinum. He was the hottest rapper alive, and immediately the industry tried to create beef. DMX versus Jay-Z. The headlines read, both were Rockefeller adjacent, both from New York, both alpha males, both competitive. The stage was set for war. Jay threw subliminals, nothing direct, just enough to test the waters, see if DMX would bite. DMX could have gone nuclear, could have ended Jay's career with a diss track. Everyone knew X's pen was vicious, but he remembered Biggie, remembered the promise, remembered what beef had cost. He responded once, on money, cash, hoe, made his point, showed he could rap, then walked away. I'm not doing this, he told his manager, not giving them what they want. Jay is talented, I'm talented, we can both exist. I'm not killing someone's career for album sales. People called him soft, said he was scared, said Jay had won. But DMX didn't care. He'd made a promise. When Ja Rule beefed with 50 Cent, one of the ugliest beefs in hip-hop history, both sides tried to recruit DMX. Ja was his Def Jam label mate. 50 was from Queens. The pressure was immense. DMX called both of them, separately. I got love for both y'all. I'm not picking sides. Y'all handle y'all business, but I'm not participating. 50 respected it. Ja felt betrayed, but DMX held firm. Biggie told me something, he said in an interview. Don't let them use you to hurt people. I'm not being used, not by either side. The beef got uglier. Murder threats, actual violence, careers destroyed. But DMX stayed out, kept his promise. In 2001, DMX worked with Snoop Dogg on Get Your Walk On. East Coast and West Coast, Rough Riders and Death Row affiliates. 5 years after Pac died, 4 years after Biggie died, making music together. Why you working with Snoop? A journalist asked. After everything with Pac and Big, DMX looked at the journalist like they were stupid. Because Snoop is dope. Because music is music. Because I'm not gonna let two dead men's beef keep me from making dope music with dope people. That's exactly what they wouldn't want. The journalist pushed. But don't you feel like you're betraying Biggie's memory? Nah, I'm honoring Biggie's memory. By doing exactly what he told me to do. By not feeding into the East-West bullshit. By showing love across all lines. That's what Big wanted. That's what he taught me. So miss me with that betrayal shit. The interview went viral. Young rappers paid attention. A new generation learned that you could be from the East and still love the West. Could be loyal to your coast without hating other coasts. In 2003, DMX did the BET Awards, paid tribute to both Pac and Biggie. On the same stage, at the same time, rapped verses from both of them, showed equal respect, equal love. That's how it should be, he said afterward. Both of them were great. Both of them taught us. Both of them died too young. We honor them both, not just the one from our coast. The industry didn't know what to do with DMX. He was too big to ignore, too real to dismiss. But he wouldn't play the game, wouldn't beef, wouldn't feed into the machine. In 2005, a young rapper from Atlanta dissed DMX, trying to make a name, trying to get attention. The diss was vicious, personal, disrespectful. DMX's team wanted blood. We gotta respond, gotta destroy this kid. DMX listened to the diss, laughed. Kid is talented, just hungry, doesn't know better. I'm not beefing with him, but X. He came at you hard, and I'm secure, I'm good, I don't need to prove anything to anybody. He's trying to eat. I remember being that hungry. I'm not stopping his meal. He called the young rapper directly. Yo, that diss was hard. You can rap, but you don't need to diss me to get on. I'll work with you instead. Let's make a record. The young rapper was shocked, apologized. They made a song together. Both killed it. The kid's career took off, and he never forgot that DMX showed him grace when he could have destroyed him. That's what Biggie taught me, DMX said. Everyone's just trying to survive. Help who you can. Don't hurt people just because you can. In 2010, DMX went to prison. Tax evasion. The system finally catching up to him. While he was away, a rapper from Chicago dissed him, called him washed, called him finished, called him a has-been. DMX's fans wanted war. When X gets out, he's gonna destroy this dude. DMX got out in 2011. First interview. Nah, I'm not addressing that. That's feeding into exactly what Big warned me about. Somebody wants attention, wants to use my name for clicks. I'm not giving them that. I'm making music. That's it. The reporter pushed. But don't you feel disrespected? I feel like that's what the industry wants. Wants me to respond. Wants beef. Wants drama. Wants content. And I'm not providing it. I learned that lesson from the best to ever do it. And I'm keeping my promise. Every time, for 24 years, every single time someone tried to pull him into beef, DMX remembered that green room, remembered Biggie, remembered the promise, and he kept. In interviews throughout his career, DMX would reference Biggie, would talk about that conversation, would honor what Biggie taught him. Big told me something that saved my life, DMX said in a 2003 interview. He told me this game will try to make you hate people you don't know. Will try to use you to hurt people. And he was right. They tried. They tried to make me beef with everybody. But I remembered what Big said, and I said no. What exactly did he say? The interviewer asked. He told me about him and Pac, about how they were friends, about how the industry turned them into enemies, about how he wished he'd just called Pac, just said fuck the noise, just showed love, but he didn't, and 3 months later, he was dead. So I promised him I wouldn't make his mistake, and I kept that promise. People started paying attention, started noticing that DMX was different, that he worked with everyone, that he showed love to everyone, that he refused to participate in the cycle of beef and retaliation that had killed Pac and Big. When DMX worked with Snoop Dogg, a West Coast legend, a Death Row affiliate, someone theoretically on the other side, people asked why. Because Snoop is dope. DMX said simply, because music is music, because coasts don't make art, people do. And I'm not gonna let geography or history or industry bullshit keep me from making music with talented people. When DMX collaborated with Nas, someone Jay-Z was beefing with, people said he was picking sides. I'm not picking sides. DMX said, I'm making music. Nas is talented. Jay is talented. I can work with both. I can love both. That's not picking sides. That's being human. The promise DMX made to Biggie became a philosophy, became a way of being, became his legacy. And it all started with a conversation in a green room. February, Biggie, 3 months from death. DMX 1 year from fame. Two men talking about survival and love and the cost of being. A charity benefit for youth programs. She'd heard about the conversation, about the promise, about how DMX had honored it for 18 years. She approached him, older now, grayer, but still carrying her son's light. Earl, she said. DMX turned, recognized her immediately. Everyone in hip-hop knew Valletta, the mother who'd lost her son, the woman who'd turned grief into purpose. Ms. Wallace, he said respectfully. She hugged him, tight, like mothers do. Thank you, she said, for listening to my son, for keeping your promise, for being different. DMX's eyes filled with tears. I wish I could have saved him. You couldn't, but you learned from him, and you taught others. That's how he stays alive, through people like you, who remember what he said, and live by it. They sat down, away from the crowd, in a quiet corner. Two people carrying the weight of loss. He talked about you that night, Valletta said. Called me after the interview, said he'd met someone special, someone real, someone who was gonna be huge. He said that? He said, Ma, I met this kid X tonight, from Yonkers. He's got, and I told him some things, about Pac, about beef, about surviving this game. I think he actually listened. I think he might be different. And you are. DMX wiped his eyes. He gave me a blueprint. I didn't understand how important it was until after he died, but then I understood, and I've tried to honor it every day. You have. I see it. Everyone sees it. You work with everyone. You refuse to beef. You show love. You break cycles. That's Christopher's legacy through you. I failed a lot too, DMX said quietly. The drugs, the legal trouble, the personal I haven't been perfect. Nobody is. But in refusing to participate in beef, in showing love across lines, you've been perfect. And that matters. That saves lives. That breaks cycles. That killed my son. They talked for 2 hours, about Biggie, about the industry that had eaten their children, about the young rappers coming up, who needed guidance, about the importance of teaching what they'd learned. I try to tell young rappers, DMX said, when I see them heading toward beef, when I see the industry trying to use, I pull them aside, tell them about Big, about what he taught me. Some listen, some don't. But I try. Tell me about one who listened. DMX thought. Kid from Detroit, 2012. He was beefing with someone from Chicago. Bad beef. Getting violent. I saw him at a festival. Pulled him aside. Told him the story. About Big. About the green room. About the promise. About what beef costs. What did he say? He cried. Said nobody ever told him he had a choice. Said everyone around him was pushing him to escalate. To prove he was tough. To show he couldn't be disrespected. But nobody told him he could just walk away. Did he? Yeah, called the other rapper. They talked. Worked it out. Now they're cool. Made music together. Both of them still alive. And making music. Instead of dead. Or in prison. That's Big's legacy. Through me to him. To whoever he teaches. Valletta smiled. Sad smile. That's what Christopher would want. Not statues or awards. Or remembrance events. Just people staying alive. Just cycles breaking. Just love winning. I met Pac's mom once too, DMX said. A Fanny told her the same story. About what Big said about Pac. About how he missed him. About how he wished he'd tried harder to fix it. What did she say? She said, my son missed him too. They were both trapped. Both prideful. Both scared. But they loved each other underneath all the noise. Then she said, thank you for remembering the love. Everyone remembers the beef, but you remember the love. That's what matters. They sat in silence. Two people who'd learned the cost of beef. Through loss. Both trying to make sure the lesson wasn't wasted. You have kids? Valletta asked. 15. Different mothers. Complicated situation. But I love them all. Tell them this story. About Christopher. About the promise. About choosing love over beef. Make sure it lives beyond us. I do. I have. My oldest son asked me once why I don't beef with anybody. Told him about Big. Told him about this night. Told him some promises are worth keeping forever. What did he say? He said, that's dope, Dad. That's really dope. Valletta laughed. Real laugh. Christopher would have said the same thing. Before she left, Valletta gave DMX something. A photo. Biggie and Pac. Together. Smiling. Before everything fell apart. before the industry got between them, before pride and fear and misunderstanding destroyed everything. Where'd you get this? DMX asked. Christopher had it in his wallet. When he died, he kept it. Even through all the beef, even when he was supposed to hate Pac, he kept this photo. That's how I know he never stopped loving him. DMX looked at the photo. Two legends, smiling, friends, before the world tore them apart. I'll keep this, DMX said. Remind me why the promise matters. You do that, and keep teaching. Keep showing these young boys a different way. Christopher couldn't save himself, but maybe through you, he can save them. They hugged again, longer this time. Two people who'd lost too much. Two people trying to make meaning from loss. Two people keeping promises to the day. DMX thought about that, about the young rappers he'd mentored over the years, about the conversations he'd had, about the beefs he'd refused to participate in, about the love he'd shown when hate would have been easier. Maybe Biggie had saved him, not from death. DMX would struggle with addiction, with legal trouble, with all the demons that come from childhood trauma and adult fame, but from the specific death that came from industry beef, from the cycle that had killed Pac and Biggie, from the trap of manufactured hatred. That conversation, 20 minutes in a green room, had given DMX a map, not for avoiding struggle, for avoiding unnecessary destruction, for staying human in an inhuman industry. East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, South, from legends and rookies, from people he'd worked with and people he'd never met, from every corner of hip-hop, because DMX had kept his promise, had shown love across all boundaries, had refused to participate in the beef cycle, had demonstrated what Biggie tried to teach him. Nas posted, X was different, never got caught up in the drama, always showed love, that's rare, that's real. Snoop posted, West Coast, mourns the East Coast legend, love across all lines, X taught us that. 50 Cent posted, we beefed with mutual people, but X never beefed with me, always showed respect, that's power. Jay-Z posted simply, brother, despite everything, brother. The consistency in every tribute was striking. No one talked about beef with DM, no one had stories of conflict or drama, everyone had the same memory. DMX showed love, DMX stayed out of unnecessary conflict, DMX was different. At his memorial service at Barclays Center, 20,000 people showed up, the arena packed, the streets outside packed, people from every borough, every background, every crew, all coming to honor one man. Swizz Beatz, DMX's longtime producer and friend, told the story. X used to talk about Biggie a lot, about a conversation they had in 1997, right before Biggie died, about how Big warned him, taught him, showed him a different way, and X took that lesson and lived it every day for 24 years. That's devotion, that's honor, that's love. The crowd was silent. Big told X not to let them make him into a monster, not to let them use him to hurt people, and X never did. He was raw, he was real, he was intense, but he never beefed. Just to beef, never let the industry weaponize him. That's Big's legacy, through X, and now it's X's legacy, through all of us. Busta Rhymes spoke, I was there through all of it, every time someone tried to pull X into beef, and every time, X said no. That's what Biggie taught him. That's power. Method Man spoke, I knew Big, and I know he would be proud of X. Proud that someone listened. Proud that someone broke the cycle. The service went on for hours. Speaker after speaker, story after story, but the theme remained consistent. DMX was different. DMX showed love. DMX kept his promise. Valletta Wallace was there, in the front row, crying, because her son's final lesson had lived on, because two dead legends had shown a way, because love had survived hate, because cycles were breaking. After the service, she stood at Biggie's grave in Brooklyn, like she did every week, talking to him like he could hear. Christopher, Earl kept his promise. For 24 years, he honored you, honored what you tried to teach him. Thousands followed his example. The cycle is breaking, because of you, because you tried to save someone, and you did. She placed flowers on the grave, white roses, Biggie's favorite. Earl's with you now. Both of you can rest. Both of you taught what you could, and will continue. We'll keep teaching what you taught. We'll keep breaking the cycles you couldn't break. She walked away.
The Brooklyn Cemetery quiet, 2 graves, Christopher Wallace, Earl Simmons, both too young, both legends.
But their lesson remained. The conversation in the green room, February 1997. 20 minutes that changed a career. That saved lives. That broke cycles. That created a blueprint for survival in a game designed to destroy you. Biggie taught it, 3 months before dying. Knowing he was next. Knowing time was short. Choosing to use that time to teach someone who might listen. DMX lived it. 24 years. Through fame and struggle. Through addiction and recovery. Through legal trouble and personal pain. Through everything that tried to break him. He kept that promise, never broke it. Never forgot. And everyone who learned from DMX carries it forward. Every young rapper who chooses love over beef. Every artist who refuses to participate in manufactured conflict. Every person who remembers that everyone in this game is human. Everyone's scared. Everyone's just trying to survive. That's the legacy. That's what survives. That's what we carry. Not the beef. Not the drama. Not the deaths. The love. The lesson. The promise kept. Biggie and DMX. February 1997. Hot 97. A green room. A conversation. 20 minutes. A promise. 24 years of keeping it. That's the story. That's what matters. That's what we remember. And that's what we teach. To the next generation. And the one after that. And the one after that. Until the cycle is finally broken. Until love wins. Until we learn what Biggie tried to teach. And what DMX demonstrated. Everyone in this game is human. Everyone deserves love. Everyone's just trying to survive. Show love when you can. Because tomorrow isn't promised. Because beef benefits no one. Because legends are made not by who they destroy but by who they save. Rest in peace, Christopher Wallace. March 9th, 1997. 24 years old. Killed by a cycle he tried to break. Rest in peace, Earl Simmons. April 9th, 2021. 50 years old. Died having kept his promise. You taught, we listened, we'll keep teaching. The cycle breaks with us. The end.